Hello, everybody. If you could hear me as you're coming in, just let me know. If there's any audio problems, let me know, and I will try and fix those pretty quickly. This will not be a very long stream at all. I basically just wanted to let everyone know that the Kamen America Volume 6 in Omnibus campaign is closing out today. It's got 11 hours left. So yeah, Tim and Mark, they are busy, busy, busy as always. Multiple campaigns this year, and this one is just as successful as all the others. So 2,441 backers on Kickstarter. Indiegogo, last I checked, I don't know. I want to say there's like another 400 or something along those lines. So what, you know, going on 2,900 backers between Indiegogo and Kickstarter. This is a rough estimate. I might be off by a little bit. 11 hours to go. Usually there is also that last minute rush of people. Especially like the last hour. So I don't know. I think they're going to be hitting close to 3,000 total, if I'm not mistaken. So Tim, Mark, congratulations. Very cool. Tagia, thanks for tuning in again. I always mispronounce that, or I'm not sure of myself when I thank you for stopping by. So thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. So yeah, very impressive. Also, I will continue to go if there's anything people want to talk about that's related to this sort of stuff, let me know, and we can do that as well. I just also wanted to thank Animane for those of you that don't know. Last night, Tim and Mark and myself and Animane did a live stream, and we covered all sorts of stuff. We covered the crossover. We covered Kamen America 6. We covered the webtoons, storytelling in general, just indie comics, all sorts of stuff. So check that out, Animane. If you're watching, thank you so much for the invite. Really appreciate it. Had a really great time. And yeah, man, like to come back someday and just continue to talk about indie comics and that sort of stuff. So again, check that out. It's also in my community tab. Captain Cummings is here. What's up, ladies and fellas? Thanks for tuning in, man. Hope you are safe and sound wherever you are. Let's see, go through this. Tim also announced that this is not for the Kamen America 6 campaign, but this is in the near future. There's going to be, whether you're a weeb or not, the copywriter or cappy writer is coming out in the future. So if you like the capybaras, who knows who this character, the history behind this particular character, but that's another thing that's coming on deck. I would also like to thank everybody that got the crossover campaign, but the people that are sharing their books when they get them, sharing their feedback about the books when they get them. So this particular reader right here, really appreciate it. He says, it finally arrived. I'm going to have to get Iconic Comics specific bookshelf at this rate. The climax of both Kamen America X Black Ops X Soulfinder and especially Soulfinder Infinite Ascent still live rent-free in my mind, even though I read them months ago. So the people that have read the book, the feedback that I'm getting, particularly about the ending, has been really cool because I was not sure how people would respond to that. It's a little bit of a curveball. I don't think people will be expecting it. And again, from the early feedback that I'm getting, people were not expecting it and they're digging it. So that's pretty cool. And so the thing with the Soulfinder Infinite Ascent is that if you backed the Soulfinder tiers on the crossover campaign, you got the digital version of Infinite Ascent for free. That was a gift. So we wanted to under promise and over deliver. That's kind of the thing, is people were not expecting that, and all of a sudden, bam, if you got the Soulfinder tiers, now you got the third book, you got the digital, and the bet is, I'm putting my chips in on myself, is that if it's a good book, then they're going to be like, oh, wow, I really like this digital, and I have all the physical books. I want to get the physical books. And so that's the bet. And then if they get the saddle stitch and they like the saddle stitch is the cheaper version. So I can make those a lot cheaper than the hardcovers. So some people are going to get the saddle stitch and then they're going to like, oh, well, I also want the hardcover because I got the hardcover for Black Tide. Somebody was on today on another video was asking if Demon's Match is going to get its own hardcover at some point in time. And the answer is yes, God willing. So I've said before that I want to have enough new content in there to make it worth it for everybody. I don't want to just basically rehash. I don't just slap a hardcover onto Demon's Match. I don't really want to do that. So I have some plans, but I got to take care of this other stuff. Really happy I just heard from Dave Dorman today, literally right before I came on, and everything's good with this Soulfinder Volume 4 cover that he is doing for us. So hopefully I'll have that as well pretty soon. So Dave is rolling. We got another hardcover from him. Can't wait to see that. That one's going to be Reginald Crane specific since it's a Vietnam origin tale. So that's going to be cool. Draw and Talk, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Draw and Talk has a great channel. And I know that you've been in flux with what you're offering and what you're not offering these days, but yeah, check out Draw and Talk, check out his books, all that sort of stuff. Draw and Talk's been really cool towards me. We'll just put it that way. We'll get into details, but I really appreciate it when people yeah, we won't get into all that kind of stuff. We'll just say that Draw and Talk's been cool, and he's actually conducted himself like a mature adult over the past few months, whereas other people, not so much. So Draw and Talk, really appreciate it. Tyler. Let's see. Tagias has always bet on Ernst. Well, I am going to continue to try and offer really good stories to people, and I'm trying to improve with each outing, and we'll see where it goes. But I am very happy with how Soulfinder Volume 3 turned out. The people that got the digital seem to be happy. The saddle stitch will be up as soon as, or very shortly after, the crossover is fulfilled. So I think that might even be fulfilled by the end of the week. My guess is I would ask them if they can do it early next week. Give the fulfillment team a few days to just like chill out and rest and put their feet up after a job well done. And then from there, then we'll put the saddle stitch up. I know a lot of people are waiting for the hardcover for Infinite Ascent, and that is coming as well. So as you can see here, everything, the proofs are approved. We got the hardcovers done. I got the Alejandro Mirabal variant done. There's only going to be roughly 200 hardcover of the Alejandro Mirabal variants. So they're just like the saddle stitch version. And the only difference is that this will say Volume 3. It's like red right here. So there's going to be roughly like 1,000 Dave Dorman hardcovers and then 200 of the Alejandro. That might actually change because the guy who heads up API said he has some cool ideas for some, like, the bells and whistles sort of stuff with the covers. So I'm going to see what he has to say. I'm going to see some test stuff. And if it's as cool as he says and it makes sense, then maybe I'll actually do some special stuff with, with Black Tide. I had the glow in the dark ink on the anglerfish. So that made sense because it's an anglerfish, make it glow in the dark. So I got to see what he wants to do with the Dorman cover. If it doesn't take away from Dave's art, sure, yeah, I'll do it. No problem. Don't have a problem with that. Again, if you did purchase the digital version of Soulfinder Infinite Ascent on Amazon Kindle, please leave a rating. That always helps as well. Appreciate that. So I know people are definitely reading it, but not everyone circles back and leaves a rating. So do that if you get a chance. Let's see what else we got here. Already covered this. AI art. I talked about this on Twitter, and I might as well talk about it here. So I started looking into AI art, and particularly Mid-Journey. My brother uses Stable Diffusion, and I like it a lot. I really like it a lot. So much so that I got a subscription to Mid-Journey to mess around with it and see what we can do. So this particular piece here, I was experimenting with a World War II battlefield with U.S. soldiers, and they're looking, and Saint Michael and a choir of angels just bursts forth from the sky. That was, in short, the prompt that I was using. There's other stuff that I put in there, but this is what came out. And so on Mid-Journey, what happens is there's 4 quadrants, and it will release, whatever its little AI brain or whatever you want to call it comes up with. And then you have the option. You could either upscale it, and it provides more detail and starts filling in stuff. You could reshuffle the deck, or you can pick one of the images and then say, like, I like this. This is the right track. I want to see 4 more that are in this vein. So I've been messing around with that and getting really cool stuff. So I think it works with, if you want to explore concepts, if there's something that, if you're working with an artist, so say I'm working with Matt Weldon. Now I am spoiled and I am blessed to be able to have worked with Timothy Lim, Matt Weldon, Eric Canetti on different things, Jeff Spokes. All these guys are super talented artists. And typically when I say, like, all right, this is what I'm thinking for this, they kind of just know what's in my head, and they do like a really good job of just pulling it out of my head and putting it on the page, whether it's the script or we're just like bouncing ideas around. But say you're working with an artist who can't do that. AI is a great way to basically get what you want and show the artist and say, this is basically what I'm after. Can you flesh this out? Can you do something along these lines? And it's right there. And oftentimes, if you're really good with the prompts, you'll be able to get art that you can use just for your own promo art. Or say, hypothetically, there were people that were interested in developing Soulfinder into something else, hypothetically, and you wanted to show what Soulfinder was capable of on a sliding scale depending on the budget. So you say, say hypothetically, you wanted to do a show or a movie or something along those lines. Well, if you had a big enough budget where you can have Saint Michael bursting through the clouds with a choir of angels, then you can do that. And Matt Weldon is here. This is Matt. Oh man, awesome. Matt, I was just saying, I heard from Dave Dorman right before we went live. So Dave is good to go. Check the email. You are copying on it. I don't know if he wants any more references or not of Father Crane in his Vietnam outfit or whatever, but I think he's probably good to go. But anyway, you are copied on that email. So yeah, like I was saying, if you have someone like Matt Weldon, you can just say, like, hey, Matt, choir of angels bursting through the clouds or whatever. And then Matt will just do like something totally insane and it'll be good. But you're not always dealing with a Matt Weldon. I know that there are indie creators that are, they got, more Matt Weldon. It's a Matt Weldon Wednesday going on around here. So let's see. First appearance of Jessie flying in her civvies, really trying to get better at light and dark shading. Punchline, hashtag comics. Andre Leal, go check out Andre Leal. Camilio Wallace, Inktober. So Matt, busy as usual. So yeah, here's a good example. You just say, hey, Matt, I want so-and-so in his civvies and blah, 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 blah. And then Matt will just do some like crazy cool stuff like this. Boom. But again, you're not always, you don't always have that. The other thing with that I like about AI. So here's the thing. I know a lot of artists don't particularly like AI, but I think if you're a good artist, you will like it because you could explore your own ideas and stuff like that. So this was another character that I was messing around with, and this came out. This is a potential Soulfinder character. I can go into the past and tell stories. I can go into the futures. I can um, tell these stories. I can get cool outfits for these guys and all this sort of stuff. This is like, I was like, man, I got to tell this guy's story. This guy looks like he means serious business. This is somebody he's taken on some demons in his day. So all sorts of stuff like this. And again, I'm just learning the prompts. And if it's just doing this when I'm just initially going about the prompts, then what is it going to do? Here's another one. I mean, like, I actually like impressionist art, and I like oil paintings and things like that. That's the other thing. So if you go to Midjourney and you go to the newbies section, there's people and they're just like, I don't mean to make fun of them, but on some level, like, it is kind of funny. They're probably like teenagers or something. I don't know. They're just like, I would like Hugh Jackman eating a bag of Dorito chips. I don't even think you're supposed to use like celebrities, but whatever. They're like, I would like a Hugh Jackman, and I would like him to be eating Dorito chips in anime style. And then you just get that. And like, to me, I'm just like, okay, that's funny, I guess. Like, whatever. Scribbles, thanks for tuning in. Scribbles is awesome as well. I don't know if you're still on Twitter. I'm assuming you are. But check out Scribbles on Twitter and all of the artwork and all of the projects that are involved with Scribbles. Anyway, so for me, for AI, I'm going to be like, I'm going to go to the best art that's ever existed, and I'm going to try and duplicate that. I'm going to go to the best impressionist painters I can think of, and I'm going to tell the AI, listen, this is what I want. Can you do something like this? And can you do this art style, this artist, but pretend he lived during World War II? And this artist there's a priest, and he's in his cassock, and he's surrounded by the troops, and then the angels burst forth from the clouds just as the storm lets up, or whatever. And this is what AI comes up with. This piece is amazing to me. I think this is awesome. So I can just do that. And then I was thinking, I was like, I could literally do like a coffee table book of Soulfinder art, AI art, or something along those lines. And then I can get pieces like this. Again, this is just me day one messing around with AI. You can get all these incredible, basically like paintings from AI, and then I could add commentary, or I can pick, a subject, World War II, and I could just talk about World War II and how that influenced Soulfinder. Tagia says, I think a Soulfinder story around 1776 would be cool. Yeah, there's one of my patrons who said that like years ago. She's like, hey, can you should do like a either Civil War era or Revolutionary War era. Would you do that? And I was like, of course, if I have time, yeah. I always like World War I didn't include it on here, but I was saying like, okay, I want a Catholic priest in the trenches in World War I, and he's giving communion to the troops or something along those lines. And it's wet and it's muddy and it's been raining and all this sort of stuff. And it came up with just like amazingly cool stuff. Like, I'm just like, holy cow, this is really cool. Now, the other thing is, if you could, I know there's some more in here. Let's see. Oh, here's another one. Okay, so here's another one. I was like, okay, I want the Wyoming class battleships from World War II. And I also want Catholic priests in a black cassock. And I also like impressionist art And I also want giant squid going on, some sort of feel with that, and like roiling oceans and all that, blah, blah, blah. This is what it came up. This is something out of Stranger Things upside down. You can tell an apocalyptic tale that takes place in the future, and things are so bad that some population needs to be on a World War II type battleship, but it can't just be a battleship. You need to have a giant metal cross erected as you go through the demonic seas with these demonic giant squid that are trying, like, the only thing that's holding them back is the spiritual warfare of the soul finders on board. And if the soul finders with their giant metal cross weren't there, they would consume this battleship. It would be over for whoever's on this ship or something along those lines. So like I said, hypothetically, if people wanted to develop Soulfinder into something more, you could go to those people and say, like, this is what you can do with Soulfinder. Literally, all you need is military veterans, combat veterans who happen to be Catholic priests. I can put them in a crazy spiritual situation. Again, this looks like something out of Stranger Things upside down. I could put them in the past. I could put them in the future. I could put them anywhere. It really just needs, again, combat vets, Catholic priests, doing cool stuff, battling demons. That's all you need. They're like some sort of, the warrior priest class, but it's like the Western sort of warrior priest class. And I was talking to my wife. I was like, why doesn't this like exist? Why has this not existed till now? You have the samurai warrior who's spiritual, all this sort of stuff. It's kind of similar in that sense. So anyway, huge fan of AI, and I think it will help me out. Oh, that's the other thing. If you want promo art, and I was talking to my brother about this, and he was like, my brother is, how do I say this? My brothers are both more intelligent than me. I can admit this. I don't particularly want to admit this, but my brothers are more intelligent than I am in terms of raw intelligence. Both of them are. My one brother who is dealing with AI right now is just a super sharp guy. Anyway, he was like, what I'm trying to do right now is get a seed image. And if the AI could recognize the seed image of Father Redder, then once we get the seed image and it knows Father Redder and it could duplicate him at will, then we could put him in any sort of situation that we want. Similarly, then I was like, yeah, the other thing is if you could like get the Soulfinder red trim and like the outfit itself, if we could figure that out, then we could do all sorts of other stuff. So sometimes when you're dealing with artists, again, I'm not talking about Matt Weldon. I am not talking about Timothy Lim. I'm not talking about Eric Canetti. But sometimes when you're dealing with artists, it takes a while to get the art, understandably, especially, I mean, if you were doing something like this, it would take a while. But what if I don't want to wait weeks? What if I don't want to wait months? What if I don't want to wait a year? What if I want it right now or whenever I want? And with AI, I don't need to pay a lot of money. A Midjourney subscription, you get 25 basically images for free or whatever it is. And then they're like, okay, well, then there's a $10 subscription. And I think you get like 200 images per month. Then there's a $30 subscription. I forgot what it was. And then there's a $600 yearly subscription where it's unlimited. And I'm actually debating the 600 one because unlimited is awesome. And it would allow me to just do whatever the heck I want and not worry about hitting limits and all that sort of stuff. Let's see. Nate Winchester is here. Nate, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Thanks for your feedback. Nate, I don't think would mind this. I was talking to him and he was saying, talking about the timeline. So Tim and Mark, if you're watching, Nate likes the timelines of events, so he knows exactly what to read, when to read it. Where does Soulfinder fall into all of this? I know you got the timelines that are on the Kickstarter page and Indiegogo, and you put them on Twitter here and there. But maybe if you want to just get those out there a little bit more here and there, that would be good. Nate, if I did not accurately articulate your stance on the timelines, let me know. I will correct myself immediately. JJ says Soulfinder meets Lovecraft. Don't say that in front of Tim. Let's see. Oh, yeah, no, I know Tim doesn't like the it's like Castlevania meets G.I. Joe. I generally don't like that either. I understand why people do it. I understand how there are, if you were literally in an elevator and you had an elevator pitch and you were with like a moronic studio executive, then I can see doing that, because that's the language that the studio exec understands, because they're dumb. These are the people that want Superman, back in the day with Kevin Smith, they wanted Superman battling a giant polar bear and things like that. So yeah, if you were dealing with someone who wants Superman battling giant polar bears, then I would do that. But I think when you're pitching your own stuff, you don't want to remind people off the bat that you're possibly, if you're not doing things right, you're doing a derivative of something that they like more than your product. Like immediately it's like, okay, well, if it's Castlevania meets G.I. Joe, maybe I'll just go play Castlevania again, and maybe I'll go watch G.I. Joe, because it sounds like you don't have your own ideas. But to me, when I'm pitching Soulfinder to people, I literally just say it's combat veteran exorcists, and they're battling a demon called Blackfire. They're tasked with battling this demon Blackfire and its minions until the end of time. And the main character is an Iraq war vet who is mentored by a Vietnam veteran. The main guy is Soulfinder 79, and he is mentored by Soulfinder 77. They are aided in their quests and their missions by a detective named Detective Gregory Chua, or something along those lines. And Tim and Mark can verify my claims. When you are at conventions and you say that to people, particularly if they're policemen or they're military veterans or they're remotely conservative, or you can tell that they might like that sort of, there's certain guys, if they got the grunt style shirt on, they got the American flag on their shoulder, they got an American flag hat on because they're a military guy. I'm guilty of it myself. I got my little military cap on right now, actually. And you say combat veteran exorcist to them, their eyes will light up oftentimes, and they'll be like, huh? You will pique their interest. And then if you showed them something like this, then they're going to be like, oh, interesting. The other thing is AI. I don't know enough about AI animation, but that's the other thing that I want to get into as well. I saw a video of it's the Deltron 3030. It's the old album. It's an awesome album if you like that sort of stuff. It's like rap, and it's like in the future, all this sort of stuff. But somebody did an animation of one of Dell's songs. I think it's like the Virus or Virus. And it was all AI animated, and it was awesome. It's really cool. And I was like, okay, well, now again, going back to my brother, if we can get a seed image of Father Redder and Father Crane and Shua, and the AI recognizes it, then we could look into animation and how to do that. And maybe the AI is not there right now, but if it's this good now, I only need a couple years. Where's it going to be in a couple years? It's going to exponentially increase in terms of its capabilities and its power and all of that. Now, that's terrifying on some level, because I'm just using this for art. And I'm doing art pieces that are inspired by Catholic priests and stuff like that. I was talking to my wife about this yesterday. I don't know if this is appropriate for a stream, but I guess so. It's a serious conversation. There are people that are going to use like AI for weirdo, like adult purposes. We'll just say that. And AI comes up with some crazy stuff. So you are going to have people that they are going to use it for all sorts of like crazy dirty stuff. And the thing with that is these people that are like drug addicts. And so they're going to use it like they're going to like AI, I want you to do X, Y, and Z, like dirty stuff. And then they're going to get into that sort of imagery and animation and maybe even movies at some point in time. And it's going to be weird. It's going to be stuff the human mind could never naturally think of on itself. Just so grotesque and weird and just lewd and like all sorts of stuff. But that's the thing. Then their dopamine levels in their brain, they're going to get used to it because your brain gets used to it. Again, like you do the drug, then you're like the weirdness or whatever drug, cocaine or heroin or whatever, it doesn't do it for you anymore. Then you get used to it. So you're going to have these human beings that are going to be like hooked on crazy stuff, but then they're going to go to the AI again and they're going to look for weirder stuff. And because it's AI and it's just astronomically more intelligent than the human mind, the AI is going to come up with weirder stuff. And then they're going to get addicted to that. And they're going to keep trying to feed their addictions. And these people will not be able to function in the normal world. Like, these people will not be able to have normal relationships with other people, particularly sexual relationships. I know this is weird that I'm even like going down this road and talking about. I'm actually really scared about how AI is going to alter humanity in ways that are not good, are really bad. Like, you're going to have these people, they're going to become essentially like their minds are going to be warped in really sick and twisted ways. But these people, sometimes they're going to go back out into society. And how they do, like, how are they going to act with normal people? How are these guys that are locked in their rooms with creepy stuff, imagery, when they go out and they deal with women in the real world, what's going to happen? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that in many instances, it's not going to be good. It's going to be weird, and they're going to have social issues, and it's not going to be good at all. Nate says, I think you're literally describing the plot from the movie From Beyond. I have not seen that movie. I don't know what it is, but if so, I don't know. Nate, only it was like spirits, demons instead of AI. Bianca says, aloha, dudes. Yeah, I got all sorts of AI. Like I said, it's another one of those things where it's a tool that can be used for great good or great evil. And I know that it will be used for good things, but I also know it will be used for evil. And I'm, like I said, it's one of these things where it's like you're existing in reality. I don't have a choice. This is the time and this is the place that we're alive in. So we don't have a choice but to be here. And you got to do your best with it. So it's like, okay, well, I'm a writer. I'm doing comics and I'm creating things. I'm going to try and create inspirational art and meaningful art with AI if it exists. But like I said, I know there are people out there. Now, we're not even talking about art. Like, you talk about military repercussions, the ways that certain agencies, intelligence agencies can use AI, and governments, dictators, despots. I mean, you want to go down the rabbit hole of what can be done with AI. I don't even want to talk about it, because if you even talk about it, you're like, then you're putting these ideas into the world. And maybe I'm putting ideas into the world that people didn't think of, and they're evil ideas. And people's like, oh, that's actually a good idea. I think I'll do that. Not that, intelligence agencies are watching my little YouTube channel or whatever, but like, I don't like talking about what's possible with some of these things, because it's dark and it's evil, and I know that bad governments around the world are going to abuse it. So, Mr. Grahovec, thanks for tuning in as well. Appreciate it. Anyway, yeah, I don't want to get, like I said, I'm sorry to be dark or whatnot. Let's go to something positive. Speaking of positive, so Japanese readers, one in particular, Sudapiko, she sent this to Tim, who sent it to me. Father Redder stickers. I've had people from Brazil send me coffee and religious stuff. I've had people, Soulfinder readers from Australia, send me stuff. Very nice little thing, little teacups. People know that I like tea a lot. Now I got Father Redder, was it the Chibi Art stickers from Japan. Can't thank the Japanese readers enough for spreading the word. They've been kind enough. They like Kamen America. They like Black Hops. And through that, they were introduced to Soulfinder. They seem to like that. I know the Japanese like the Catholic Church in the sense that they like the exorcists and they like the demons and they like all that. They don't understand the actual catechism per se, but they like all of that. And so far, from what I have seen in my interactions with the Japanese readers, they are very intrigued by the Catholic Church and its teachings because they don't really get that. They don't get that aspect of it in a lot of what they watch. So, thank you for that. Boom. Let's see. This gets into like some weird stuff. Those who know, there's a conspiracy out there. There are people out there that are saying that my books are funded by secret Chinese money and all this sort of stuff. This started months ago with people that are ridiculous, and people asked me about my opinions of it. Here's the deal. I funded Soulfinder Demons Match with my own money. I funded Soulfinder Black Tide with my own money. I funded Soulfinder Infinite Ascent with my own money. I worked at the newspaper for many years, roughly a decade. Before that, I worked at the Heritage Foundation. I saved my money. I invested wisely, and I used that money, my savings, and all of that sort of stuff for my personal bank account to fund the Soulfinder books. I do not have secret Chinese money funding it. Now, I don't like to get into, like, how do I say this? Somebody very close to me who I love very much, who I've been with for 20 years, actually is Chinese. But that's but that is not what these people are talking about. These people are talking about some sort of like shady Chinese money and stuff like this. And basically I have my ties to the triad or something weird like that. I didn't even know. No, I funded the first 3 Soulfinder books with my own money and money that came from sales of the books that were recycled literally back into the projects. Any money I make on Soulfinder or Soulfinder rosaries has been recycled into more Soulfinder stuff. So if you ever see people saying that I'm funded by secret Chinese communists or something bizarre like that, I mean, it's funny on many levels, but it's just weird and it's bizarre. And typically it seems that these are people that they hate it. That Soulfinder is not crowdfunded. It has not been crowdfunded since Demons Match. And they don't understand how I'm doing it. Well, one way is it's done really well. Word on Fire has promoted it. EWTN has promoted it. Catholic news outlets have promoted it. Catholic creators with podcasts have created it. I could continue to go down the list. So I have an audience that has nothing to do with YouTube. I have a growing Catholic/Christian audience, and they are not connected to YouTube. They are not involved in Twitter for the most part. They might have random accounts. There are priests, there are deacons that like Soulfinder. They spread it to their friends. And so hopefully as time goes on, I will essentially on some level be the modern dude who writes fiction in comic books that is hopefully, ideally, beloved by men of the cloth and men of faith and women of faith, obviously. So yeah, to me, the end game has always been to just get away from crowdfunding if possible. I don't like crowdfunding. I know people do. I don't. I don't like when it becomes all about money. I don't like it basically just becomes how do I say this? A junk swinging contest about who's got the bigger shabadoo. And in terms of monetarily, and it's like, okay, well, that has nothing to do with whether it's actually like a good story. Like, did you tell a good story? Do you have people out there that are literally saying, where's this reader again? Not saying that in a dismissive way. Do you have people saying that the ending is living rent free in their mind months after they read it? Or are they reading what you gave them and then throwing it in the trash? Or are they reading it and throwing it in a box and never remembering it again? I don't want that. So to me, I like not crowdfunding because it takes that money game off the table. The people that are buying Soulfinder are people that want to read stories by somebody that takes the craft of storytelling seriously. And I might not always succeed. I might not always hit the mark, but I am trying to improve with every single story. I'm trying to tell stories that are meaningful and that will resonate with people on a deeper level. That's what I'm trying to do. I literally don't care about the money game. All I care about is making enough money to continue to do another book. That's what I care about. I care about forming genuine relationships with guys like Matt Weldon and Bill Williams. Bill Williams was instrumental in getting multiple books out. The Soulfinder Saddle Stitch, obviously Infinite Ascent, Black Tide, with the hardcover stuff. Bill introduced me to a guy who helped out with the hardcover stuff. Timothy Lim has been huge, obviously, in terms of not just Demon's Match, but ever since then, the logistics involved with getting these books out on time. Mark Pellegrini. I'm interested in building relationships with people that want genuine relationships. I work with them on a business level, but I actually like them on a personal level as friends, as human beings. That's what I care about. So if I can avoid giant crowdfunding campaigns, I will do that. I'm not saying I will always stay away from crowdfunding campaigns, but I think I might do something that's scaled back in terms of like, okay, well, we have 100 books and they're signed books by, Matt and I and, Bill or something along those lines. So yeah, I want to continue to work with those guys, work with guys like Eric Canetti, all super cool human beings, and I appreciate all their help. Let's see. Neostar Productions. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. The brilliant star that shines through the night, the sonic boom that shakes the room, Reiserman stands before you. Well, thank you for standing before me, Reiserman. Nate Winchester. Let's see. Oh, that's a fascinating seed idea for a story. Your protection AI could even be called Guardian Angel, while the AI would be demons or tormentors. Yeah, no, there's a lot of cool ideas you could do with AI. I was trying to, the other night, I was like, I wonder if I could actually do a story but that's the thing. There's all these stories that are percolating in my brain, but there's only so much time to do them. So who knows? Let's see. Like I said, we'll circle back on Kamen America Volume 6 in Omnibus. Again, it's got 11 hours to go, 2,445 backers on Kickstarter, $119,531. Last I checked, there was another 400, I believe, on Indiegogo. So 2,845 backers roughly. So it'll be interesting. I think they might hit 3,000. We'll see. Miss Martin Muses, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And unfortunately, we are about at the end, but you will be able to circle back to the beginning of this. We covered Kamen America 6 and Omnibus, the campaign, some Soulfinder updates, and we talked about AI a lot. I wanted to talk about AI. Matt Weldon stopped in. Matt, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And I appreciate everyone else who watched. JJ, Nate Winchester, Neostar, Miss Martin. Who else, Mel? Bianca, Tagia, Scribbles, Mr. Weldon again, Force Ghost Burst Reynolds, Drawn Talk Tyler, Captain Cummings, and anybody else I missed. Did I get you, JJ? JJ, thanks for tuning in. So again, everyone, I will be back, I don't know, whenever with a new live stream, new video. I really just, for the most part, it's a lot of Iconic Comics updates these days. But if I see something, I do actually want to do an AI video. And I just read Peter Kreeft's, I finished it. It's a monster. Food for the Soul. I might do some videos on good books, things along those lines. So we'll see. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Appreciate it. If you're on Twitter, check me out on Twitter. If you don't already, I'm also on Instagram. I try and update Instagram with new stuff here and there. Also on Patreon, obviously. And if you're a patron, the patrons were offered free saddle stitch versions of Infinite Ascent. So you might want to consider Patreon because they were getting free copies. Now, if you just go today, I don't know if I could give you a free copy, but the people that have been, before I announced it, they were offered free copies of Infinite Ascent and free copies of Warcry when it comes out. And I'll probably I'll probably make a limited number of hardcover books available to patrons as well. So something to think about. Anyway, thanks again for everything. I'll see you guys later. Really appreciate it. See ya.